Hey guys, it's Tombox here with... It's Oscar.
Oscar?
Yeah, it's Oscar. Team
Only
Tank
way we
Deals.
do videos now is through Skype.
Yeah, Skype's okay. Hopefully you guys don't mind this, but this is one of our old school Banlist panel predictions. It's a prediction, but let's actually go over several events that kind of influence our decisions in terms of some of the things that we put on this list. You guys can already see right here, but we'll go over each one before you guys start getting angry at us for putting your favorite card in there. So, first of all, Worlds finished, of course, and based on the Worlds list, we've seen the top decks being Dino Yang Zing and True Draco, and of course, let's give a shout out to Ryan Yu for basically winning with Chainburn.
Canadian Ryan Yu with Chainburn, with my hyped Balance of Judgment when it first came out. I remember, you can quote me on it, go find that video where I said Balance of Judgment is going to be really good in a certain deck, and
apparently
lo and behold, it wins Worlds.
Yeah, Chainburn. Really awesome.
Draw 7 Chainburn with
He draw
Balance
8.
of Judgment.
Draw 8.
No,
he drew
draw
8.
8.
He drew
Oh
8
my
with
God.
cards. It was pretty nice.
That's brutal.
Now, one thing that influences like the ban list, I have it written right here, which is usually the deck that wins Worlds somehow gets touched, but that is not necessarily completely true. From 2012, 13, and 14, that is true. It was Insectors, Dragon Rulers, and Infernities. Those decks were smashed right after Worlds. But then 2015 and 16, we had Satellar Knight and Blue Eyes. So Kaiba and Satellar Knight. These two decks were just power crept out for the most part.
Well, no, so Teller's got the Rhoda hit.
Oh, right, the Rhoda hit. But then Blue Eyes didn't
They
get
were
touched.
not hit directly.
But what about Blue Eyes?
Yeah, Blue Eyes was not touched at all.
I think they got kind of power crept out, but then maybe it's wearing the Kaiba armor. It's like a main character, like such a popular character, can't touch this card. It's such an iconic deck, right? So, which category do you think it actually falls under? Do you think it falls under, in terms of like the ban list influence, does it fall under Smash the winning deck, or does it fall under the don't touch the deck because it's going to get power creeped out?
I think they're just going to slightly hit it. It's not going to be incredibly smashed. You'll probably see something like the Satellar hit, where a consistency card will get hit from it, but overall I don't feel like it deserves to get absolutely smashed. The one deck that's on everyone's target, though, is, of course, Zoodiacs. That deck deserves to be smashed. It's absolutely disgusting, and the meta cannot survive if that deck survives.
That is true. The deck is just outpacing everyone, and I also believe that it is time to follow OCG. We're going to catch up to them in terms of the ban list of this deck. Honestly, it's lived for too long. Even now in the Link format, thanks to the early release of an Earth Link monster, I guess it doesn't really matter. If you haven't seen the combo video of what you can do with Zoodiacs, it's still pretty disgusting, especially with the recovery of Mrs. Radiant. It's like they got a little bit even stickier in terms of recovery.
I think any major Zoodiac player will tell you that the extra deck or the new master rules really don't do that much for Zoodiacs. They don't really hurt it that much because, anyone who's ever played Zoodiacs know that the most important thing for you to make is Trident, and you don't even need the Emerald sometimes. It's a little redundant. The new rules kind of, they don't hurt Zoodiacs at all, and even if they did, Mrs. Radiant is out, and it makes it just irrelevant.
And it also recovers a card, too. It recovers an Earth monster. Like, it doesn't do much. So, okay, in terms of my ban list and Oscar's ban list, as you guys can see, it's very similar. My approach this time would be focusing on try to push forward the Code of the Duelist Link stuff, and also try to change up the format, and that was the approach I was going to go with.
I think the issue here that might influence Konami's decision on how much they hit Zoodiacs is actually there really is no next meta deck to fill the void. Of course, there's still True King Dinos to fill the void, but there is no Link deck to fill the void, and True King Dinos being the World's winner is probably going to get hit even harder than what we predict. So that's the issue that Konami actually has to deal with. It's that the meta can get too open and it gets too unregulated,
Yeah, they got to make money off this stuff. So, okay, well, I guess let's go into the ban list. Starting off with the ban stuff. Both of you, you and I both have 2 cards on here, and both of them are Zoodiac cards, although one of them slightly differs. I have Dryden banned, you have Barrage banned, and both of us have Broad Bowl banned. Want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're both correct here that Broad Bull is definitely the biggest offender in this deck. If they want to hit the deck, they can go along with a soft hit like Trident and a Rat or something. But in order for them to really shift the meta, Broad Bull has to get hit. We saw it with Zoodiacs the first time when it came out, that it was very easy for them to recover after the ban list because Broad Bull was not hit. They have to hit Broad Bull if they want to phase the deck out of the meta.
Yeah. Rat combo wasn't exactly an issue. Rat combo was, oh, guess what? You might have taken away one of our rats, but you gave us the next best thing, was this Chalky 9. Chalky 9 just was a harder recovery than compared to most, so those have to go. Now, I put Dryden as banned, mainly because I believe that Dryden actually dictates the tempo of the game a bit too much. And actually, a lot of the Link stuff kind of struggles to keep up to that. Right now, at the very moment, like Dryden can interrupt someone performing a Link summon because, of course, all the things that when you do a Link summon, everything has to be face up, which Dryden can interrupt very easily. And face up interruption, even before Links, we can see how powerful it was, being able to destroy a card in your opponent's turn, basically at absolutely no cost. And that's why I put Dryden there.
I'm gonna go with the Barrage ban just because I always felt like the Konami has always hit the consistency card of the engine cards and not the boss monsters when they cycle decks out. They want the deck to retain its flavor, and Trident is the flavor of the deck. It defines Zoodiac as a deck. So they want people, who want to play Zoodiac as a rogue deck. They want to give them, throw them a bone. In the meantime, they still want to phase Zoodiac out of the meta, so that's why I feel Barrage will get hit instead. Barrage is one of the most powerful cards in Zoodiac out of the extra deck, and Zoodiac has basically relied on that card ever since, any of the hits from Fusion Sub onwards.
Yeah, that's very true. So, Barrage, both of us have all these cards on the list anyway. I'm a bit more harsh on the Dryden because I believe the tempo-driven part of the game is just too dictated by Dryden, and that's why he's there. Now, I guess, on to our limited stuff. Both of us have a Draconic Diagram, that's a given. Both of us have Masterpiece because, we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, I put Barrage here because I believe Barrage is still an important card in the deck that if you take Barrage out, it kind of just loses out everything at this point. Both of us have Rat in there, so kind of your Barrage and my Dryden kind of switch spots. Now, here's something that starts to differ between you and I. You have Oviraptor and I have Fossil Dig. And then I have Snow, Omega, and both of us have Gofu, and then you have a Chaos Emperor Dragon going back to 1. So, I guess we can both kind of go over the stuff that is basically the same. Draconic Diagram, well, I guess Worlds, there's Gino Yang Zing, so that's going to be a hit regardless. And also, it is one of the most dominant cards in the entire format right now, one of the best cards. You resolve this card, you're getting quite a bit of advantage. Masterpiece basically is a boss monster threshold. If you cannot defeat Masterpiece, your deck is probably in the lower tiers. Because if you can't,
I feel like with the diagram and the Masterpiece hit, it's to balance out True Dracos in the meta because they also want to shift True Dracos to the meta. If they hit only Zoodiac without the True Draco hits, then pure True Draco will just become the best deck in the meta, and the void will be filled with just pure True Draco. Everyone playing Triple Demise, Triple Desires, Triple Duality, and that will become the best deck. So these hits have to be gone through. Even with Diagram at 1, though, I feel like pure True Draco still is a very good deck. Just because the links, there's not really a good link or extra deck available right now. So pure True Draco, even though it's underpowered, is still very strong. But the Diagram hit also hits Dino decks because the Dino deck is actually really reliant on getting those True Kings and making the plays really explosive. So Diagram hits both the decks, so it's kind of a double barrel, really.
Yeah, that's Diagram definitely deserves it. And I actually have heard this. I remember this from another video, from the guy you played in that, actually, the one who played Pure True Draco.
Oh yes.
So he made a Sarab? Yeah, Sarab. That's right. He's the guy that went 10-0 with Volcanics. So he actually quoted I guess he stated that you don't really want to use Diagram that much. You actually want to resolve your Dracos more. So even if you don't get Diagram, you should still be able to play your True Dracos. So based on that, hitting it does hurt the consistency a little, but it's not exactly that bad of a loss. And even though he only ran one Masterpiece as well, so that doesn't exactly change too much in terms of
Yeah.
the true Draco engine. Now both of us has one rat now. We don't need any part of rat combo left. This is just a foolish burial now.
Yeah.
Now Fossil Dig versus Oviraptor. I put Fossil Dig because it is a dinosaur hit, and Fossil Dig basically searches you the missing piece. And you can go Fossil Dig into an Oviraptor. I left Oviraptor at 3. Just because Oviraptor search is only once per turn, so it does slow it down, and you can't just go Fossil Dig plus Oviraptor for double dinosaur and perhaps drop the diagram and go, whoa, just go wombo combo. Let's not have that. That's why I put Fossil Dig at 1.
I put Oviraptor at 1 just because I feel like, the deck relies on the Oviraptor miscellaneous cycles through the first turn. Obviously, on the first turn, Oviraptor at 1 doesn't do anything, but every subsequent turn after the first turn, Oviraptor hit is going to hurt the deck way more, especially because it's a searchable target through miscellaneous. The Fossil Dig, while is good for making really turn 1 explosive plays, it's still just a road at the end, so I don't really place that high of a priority. I actually feel like Fossil Dig is kind of like a Rhoda hit in terms of Satellars, even though I did say the Dino hit will be similar to Satellars, but I feel like with the OCG meta showing dinos being so dominant in the next meta after Zoodiac gets neutered and True Draco becomes less prevalent, and the dinos deserve a stronger hit than what Satellars received.
I see. Fossil Dig and Rhoda. Rhoda's already at 1. I'm just putting it as a consistency hit. I think yours is like putting Stratos to 1. Mine is more like putting Rhoda to 1.
Well, then, I mean, by that logic, then Oviraptor should be at 0, right?
Yeah. Banned. No. Oviraptor is a very, very crucial piece in dinosaurs. If you actually take that out, I don't think anyone would even bother touching dinosaurs. He's just way too good. He's like the best dinosaur, for sure.
Yeah, he is the best card in the deck, for sure.
Now, next up, I have Fairy Tale Snow at 1. You have him at 2. We'll talk about why I put him at 1. You can kind of judge it depending on what your answer is. Now, I put her at 1 just because she is the free Book of Moon. She is the free summon if you can banish 7 cards. Overall, she is one of the most powerful cards, especially if you run some attack it with some Shiranui cards. You can actually banish and not only summon her out, but you can also pop or special summon more monsters onto the field. And since she is not once per turn, and she has a big body, she's like the better version of Tsukuyomi, guaranteed.
Well, that's without a doubt.
And like milling her into the graveyard always feels good. There is no time when she's like, the moment you say, oh, she hit the graveyard, oh, that's automatically a plus. Like to some people, they think of it as a +1 almost. And because she is so hard to deal with, and she does have that Book of Moon effect, flipping a monster face down, I think she needs to go. She actually is one of the best control cards in graveyard-based decks, like back on Infernoids, and I believe she is still played in Lightsworn. She's just overall very powerful, and I think she's also very powerful in Twilight Sworn as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with a lot of the aspects of Fairy Tale Snow. It's a very, very powerful card in the meta. But the reason why I put it at 2 instead of at 1 is because Lawn Mowing is at 1 in TCG, and Lawn Mowing really, the only deck that really abuses Snow is Lawn Mowing decks. There's not many decks out there that can abuse Snow as much as Lawn Mowing decks. I mean, it is used in Minerva decks, but I feel like that's going to be phased out of the meta pretty soon. So with Lawn Mowing at 1, I really don't feel like Snow really deserves being limited. It's certainly not as big of an impact as the meta as the cards we've limited before, like Rat, Trident, Diagram, Masterpiece, or even Oviraptor. Is definitely not as strong as meta prevalent as those cards. So I don't feel like it deserves a limit, and that's why I put it as semi-limit.
Now, the next card I have would be Psyframe Lord Omega. Although previously we wanted this card to go in like a previous ban list, like way back when. And the reason I put it here at the limited slot now is actually specifically for TCG. It's actually less so for like to match OCG. OCG. I'm not sure if OCG has this card touch. I didn't do the research on that.
Yeah, it's limited in OCG.
Is it limited in OCG? Well, I put this card at 1 because firstly, we're trying to move forward into the Link format, and this card completely dodges the extra monster zone condition. Because remember, guys, when a monster leaves the extra monster zone, whether it be special summon back or just placed back onto the field, it goes into the main monster zone. So in other words, it frees up the slot regardless. We're not playing Links here at this point. We're just literally just playing Omega.deck, and it still works. And one deck that really functions well with Omega right now in TCG is actually Vendrids. Vendrids can actually abuse the crap out of Omega, giving them like, if they can actually put out 2 Omegas on the field, basically without even putting a Link monster, and then they use those Omegas to put those Mizukis back into the graveyard, you're dealing with a 3, 4, or 5 summon per turn, and that is kind of unbearable, especially if they keep a Vendrid on the board, which makes it very difficult to play. Like, trust me, guys, Vendrid, don't underestimate them. They are going to be very deadly, especially if they have Omega access that easily, because they do run Unizombie. Yeah, it's actually a very tough call. Like, this is just by, do we want to control how powerful Omega dictates format, especially with the reprint too. Usually reprints do signify that, hey, there's a chance of the card getting touched now that it has been basically mass produced and mass distributed to the market. At least that's my approach regarding Omega.
Well, I agree with you actually on a whole lot of that. The reason why, I honestly feel that Omega being hit as a coin flip. It's sure a lot of decks can't, like some decks can spam. I'm not gonna say a lot of decks. Some decks can spam, like the Vendrid. Basically, Unizombie makes it really easy to make, or anything with Mizuki makes it really easy to make. But at the same time, it's not in the meta yet. It hasn't been abused yet. Of course, we could see a preemptive hit, but Konami usually doesn't hit cards preemptively. That being said, the next card that I have hit is a card that's being preemptively hit for Links, and it's Gofu.
Gofu deserves it. Come on.
Yeah.
Like,
Gofu
free
has to
decode
go to
talker.
one.
It's like, look how many cards that it freely gives out. If you open with like triple Gofu, it feels kind of bad, but at the same time, it at least turns into a 26 beat stick if you go with Gaia. Yeah. It goes into Decode Talker, which gives you targeting negation. One card targeting negation could potentially be a 28 body. Gives you Mrs. Radiant right away because you can take the 2 tokens, Link Spider them up, and then I have 2 Earths. Overall, this card, anyone in OCG can tell you that if Gofu is available, they will play it, they will abuse it.
Yeah, Gofu definitely has to go to 1. It is absolutely insane in Link format. It's like Scapegoat, but you can use it on your turn right away.
And it doesn't block your summon.
Yeah, if Scapegoat didn't block your summon, you just like play Scapegoat, you just jam Fireball Dragon onto the board, like it would be so disgusting. But because Scapegoat has that restriction, that's why it's not hit. But Gofu doesn't have that 1-turn restriction delay, so Gofu has to go to 1. It's absolutely insane. If it doesn't go to 1, it's going to be absolutely pandemic in TCG, and I have no idea what is going to happen.
It's going to be the sack card. It's going to be like, oh my god, he opened Gofu, and like Maxi's at 1.
Yeah.
You can't really punish that guy, because, okay, if you chain Maxi, you immediately stop. Like, well, I'm not going to go any further than this. I still have 3 bodies on the field. You have to clear all 3 bodies, and being that we have been slowed down by the extra monster zone, clearing 3 bodies isn't exactly as easy as it sounds. You actually have to commit some resources into it, or else you're going to leave a body or 2 on there, and that can still be used. At least that's my thought on this. Now you have Chaos Emperor Dragon on there.
Yeah, well, actually, originally I thought it was errated. It really should have been errated by now.
I know,
I've been saying this for a while. If Chaos Emperor Dragon gets errated, then it'll come back. If not, it's obviously not going to come back, being limited with its current wording. That would be absolutely absurd. Yeah.
You know what? There's one card I forgot to put in here. Droll Lockbird.
I don't think Droll Lockbird deserves to get limited, even with the Trickstar combo.
The Trickstar combo is absolutely disgusting. I was thinking about like FTKs. Honestly, I would have put one right there. You know what?
Well, I think the most recent major TCG tournament with Code of the Duelist has been that ARG Invitational.
How was that one?
Yeah, the ARG Invitational, and that was basically all Zoodiacs. It was like 10 Kaiju Zoodiacs and 4 True Draco Zoodiacs, and then like 1 True King Dino. So Tricksters, even with the Drone Lock combo, have done nothing in the meta right now. And it doesn't matter, if you think about it this way, it doesn't matter to the Trickstar deck what the meta is if they get that combo, right? The combo is just inconsistent on its own. The meta is irrelevant because it's a turn 1 win combo. So if you open the combo, the guy has no hand, so he's definitely not going to win, right? So if that combo was super consistent, even in the Zoodiac meta, it would dominate the meta. But because it hasn't, it really doesn't do anything, which is why I don't feel like Droll will go to 1.
Okay, it's fair enough. I think it's really disgusting because FTKs are obviously unhealthy for the game. It's very unfair. I mean, but at the same time, you know, as you said, it's like not consistent, and there are counterplays to this combo. All you need is one copy of Ash Blossom Joyous Spring, and the whole combo kind of falls apart. That part does suck, but then, like, it's been a while since Konami released a deck that actually contains two of the most disgusting things in the game. One is both things revolve around not letting your opponent play. One is basically shuffling your entire hand back into the deck, and your opponent starts with 0 cards. You're giving you basically skip your opponent's turn, and the other one is the FTK, the burn them to death.
Yeah, I mean the FTK is I think it's not a competitively viable option. The hand destruction combo is more viable, but either way, as you said, it gets stopped by a lot. It's really inconsistent. I don't think those kind of decks outside of Frog FTK are ever going to be very meta oriented or meta viable. I mean, Frog FTK is a different story because that deck was absolutely insane.
It's one card in your entire deck. Yeah, but to me, I think Joel and Locke being able to abuse the the codependency or whatever ruling that was, I think that's actually still pretty disgusting. Being able to do that to your opponent, not letting them play, is just kind of gross. Well, okay, I guess moving on to semi-limited. These are, one card for me is coming back. It's Emergency Teleport. It's only for one reason, to be honest, because to push forward with links, there's only one deck that is purely link based, and that is World Chalice World Legacy. They have one monster that is a level 3 tuner in there, and as we already know, that deck needs to spam normal monsters. And at the moment they get their normal monsters out, they just wombo combo, draw 3, set up Ningrissus, and set up Ib, or they go Ib, double Ib. Basically one of the most annoying locks in the game so far. I hate fighting double Ib. You can't target them, you can't destroy them, and they cannot be destroyed by battle. They're stuck there. They have 18 bodies stuck on the field. They're quite annoying, quite sticky, and then they can, of course, protect each other. It's just crazy. But then giving them this option right now, of course, Zoodiac dominating the current, this little mini meta of Wars. I don't think it's going to last very long, since Konami did state that the Banlist is coming up relatively soon, based off of what they've posted before. Giving us an extra copy of E-Telly might give that deck the extra push if they actually want to promote sales of World Chalice, and just show us that links are the way to go. Kind of like when they gave us Cleese, and then we just abused the crap out of Cleese. That's the direction I went.
I don't think E-Telly will come back to 2 because it actually opens up a lot of room for Cosmo. Cosmo being a deck that doesn't rely on that extra deck. I think it's gonna see more play after this post, the neuter list, the Epic September bomb list, just because it's not a link deck, so people are going to refer to what's comfortable to them, what doesn't rely on the new rules, and what is powerful, right? And Dark Destroyer at 1 basically searchable. If E-Telly comes up to 2, Tin Can is even more searchable, and Dark Destroyer is very difficult to deal with in a meta where Double Whiptail and a Dryden doesn't exist. The only out is really going to be Lightning, right?
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough. So both of us have Terraforming and Solemn Strike. Terraforming, first of all, got printed in Ulti, and the Ulti, foreshadowing, which is like a printed Ulti usually gets touched. Both Solemn Strike, both Solemn Strike and and terraforming have both been printed in Ulti. Those are warning signs, but I honestly think that Solemn Strike should start to get pulled down a little, just because it's just been there for so long. And if Konami wants to diversify people's back row, I mean, they're trying to push forward with like other big traps like Struggling Battle, and they are also pushing out new counter traps like Shut Line. If they want to go with more column based mechanics, they gotta take away some of our more generic ones and just, oh, these are the most powerful cards, therefore we're gonna limit them down. That's what I'm thinking. And terraforming is just terraforming. So many powerful field spells anyways.
Yeah, I think with Solemn Strike, and I remember last year, right before the big hit, everyone was saying Solemn Strike was Dota 2 because it's gonna follow, the Solemn banning system, right? But there was really no replacement for Solemn at that point. But I think D-Barrier has become that replacement for Solemn, so that's why Solemn is going to get, get semi-limited. Mm-hmm. Also because it's getting reprinted. I think it's going to get reprinted as
Coda to Duelist.
Special edition. It gets a super print. So it's going to be very, very, very overprinted now. So I think it's going to be semi-limited. On the note of terraforming, though, I also think terraforming is it's a slight jab at Dragonic Diagram. It's not necessarily directed at Dragonic Diagram, but it also hits the True Draco decks. It also hits a little bit of Invoked, because I think, as everyone predicted, Invoked True Draco Spellbook is going to be a very, very good deck going into post-Zoo apocalyptic Banlist.
That's true. I think terraforming. I previously predicted that terraforming should have been like limited in one of our previous Banlist predictions. There's just so many good field spells right now, and if you follow OCG, and the OCG format right now is heavily dominated by ABCs. ABC is just ridiculous.
I think the meta is it's a mixture of Dino, ABC, and then Spellbook, Invoke, True Draco. It's one of those three.
Yeah.
That's what you have to be playing. And that's a really weird meta, because it has nothing to do with links.
Well, they do abuse the link as a piece of the combo, but they are definitely not using link boss monsters.
Yes.
That's not happening.
I think it's similar to when Pendulum first came out. Pendulum itself as a mechanic was just not very popular. But even this time, you don't have to use Pendulum. You can use it. You can just use links as to subsidize your current strategy. You don't necessarily are forced to use links. That's what a lot of people don't realize. Of course, that's not what's going to happen in the future. In the future, who knows?
We're going to see more World Chalice decks that just spam links.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of decks in the future are going to be, your extra deck is going to be 15 link cards, and that's it, right? But that's not the case right now. We're in this weird transition period.
Yeah, I guess that basically sums it up. Now, in terms of stuff coming back, both of us have 2 cards here. What, you have one more?
I still have some limit.
Right, you have one more. Yeah, that's right, Card of Demise.
Card of Demise, it's basically because I'm just following OCG. Card of Demise is pretty powerful, and especially in a format after everything has been hit and slowed down. Decks like Paleozoics will come back to full power. Other decks, with Demise control, quote unquote. So that's why I put Demise at 2, just to even out the general playing field some more.
Yeah, don't forget Chainburn. Ryan Yu
gonna get Chainburn banned.
Who would have thought Chainburn would have made it so far? But anyway, he read the meta. He knew what he was doing. But some of his draws are pretty nutty.
I think Ryan Yu is our hero this year.
Yeah,
the kid has managed to put True Draco in its place and show you why 8 cards on the field is not necessarily good.
Yeah, basically. Now for our unlimited stuff. Hey guys, for you Klee fans, I actually put Klee's back, actually for a very good reason too. I'm putting Scout back at 3 and Towers also back at 3, which sounds very bold. However, remember that Klee as a pendulum, and pendulums did get completely neutered by the new master rule. And because of that, triple Scout doesn't actually seem that bad, because don't forget about Klee's special summoning condition. They can't special summon anything while the skill is out, which means the stuff that goes to the extra deck will never come back out.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like with the new master list, any pendulum changes to any pendulum decks, with the exception
Monkey
of Monkey Board, they are all irrelevant, because the deck is the mechanics just clash. You know, Link and Pendulum, the two mechanics are too contradicting for, you know, pendulums to be good. And like with the towers, I kind of agree. You know, they're never really going to be able to summon towers with the new Master of Rolls.
They can do it once. They could probably do it once. They can like pen 1, tribute 3, summon towers. That's it, because the 3 guys are basically
no.
dead.
They would need like the monster with sacrifice on the board, and then they need to pendulum summon on the next turn with that monster normal summon the last turn, and then they contribute 3 for the towers, right? But I mean, that's like super difficult to do.
I mean, like, how much resources are you actually committing? Like, before the resources would reoccur because of the pendulum, the old pendulum mechanic, which is pen 3. You want to do anything about these are all 18 beat sticks, but now it's like, because of Klee's restriction, that makes them the weakest deck of them all.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't feel like Scout will come back, because Konami really doesn't want to push the pendulum road at all, especially after the last pendulum hurrah that they got. Pendulums I really feel like are not going to get anything. But I mean, I could see Scout and Tower Scope both commit to 3 and it not doing anything to the meta whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel like Scout's just not gonna do anything. You can get your searches, you take some damage, and then, okay, since Klees are technically all Earth, you can access Mrs. Radiant as long as you don't have a scale, which means what? It means you can't do it on one turn. That's all it means. It just slows them down so much, and then you put them to the extra. Sure, you can pen the 2 guys back out if you can set up that fast. Maybe you'll get like a Zoodiac Klee deck where the Zoo stuff mainly goes into Mrs. Radiant, then you start going Pendulum Summon. I don't know where this is going. It's just honestly very bad. Like, it just doesn't work. I mean, Klee is the deck that I think gets punished the most because they're the most restricted Pendulum deck.
Yeah, I don't feel like Klee is gonna get anything at all. The deck is dead, I'm sorry. Any Pendulum player, I'm terribly sorry for your loss.
Sorry for your loss. Okay, so let's talk about your 2 guys coming back. We have Ignister and we have Moraltech.
Yeah, so Ignister going back to 3 because, pendulums are relevant now, but it's still a generic good synchro. Of course, it basically following OCG. Ignister came back to 3 for them, and there's no reason why it doesn't come back to 3 for us. Moraltech also, just because Sanctum reprint kind of helps it, but Moraltech really doesn't do anything anymore, especially after playing a full format with Trident. The face-up destruction is very tame for Moraltech now.
I disagree with the Moraltech. I think Moraltech can actually be very impactful. If you give me 3 Sanctum, 3 Moraltechs right now, if you take away everything on this list, and then you put Moraltech to 3, I believe Sanctum will actually be able to dominate a bit more. Especially now, the only Link monster available would be Decode Talker. But then, of course, Moraltech doesn't target, so you can kill the Decode Talker, no problem. And, I believe Scythe? Well, I guess Scythe is irrelevant right now. We're talking about Moraltech. Moraltech, it's just that you just have so much option when it comes to like having he's a 21 beat stick.
Yeah, even if Moraltech was out at 30, decks playing, a small artifact engine will probably not be playing 3 Moraltechs. That's just too many, especially because Scythe is, quote-unquote, the better artifact now. That's clearly the case in a more momentum-based game. Moraltech is the value card, but Scythe is just a better one, so people are not going to be playing 6 artifacts in a small artifact engine running 3 Sanctums and maybe 2 Ignitions. They'll play 2 Moraltechs at most, and that really makes no difference whether it's at 3 or at 1.
I just feel like the popping effect of Moraltech is going to be a lot more impactful, especially with the limiting of the diagram. There's only 1 copy. If we only go to 1 diagram, which is most likely the case, hitting that just hurts a lot, and basically put another monster on board. Then speaking of like the entire artifact engine, Scythe clearly now outpowers Dimensional Barrier, because you can't even link summon if you hit a Scythe, because he shut down every single monster from the extra deck, and that actually hurts, which puts Scythe back on the map for sure. Like, he was already on the map, but he's just even stronger now because of his generic wording. So generic wording definitely, can stand the test of time when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! But,
yeah, Dimensional Barrier should have been worded, name 1 extra deck, like, card type.
But then that would be so broken. We would put D Barrier on this list right now.
Yeah, I think if that was the case, Dewberry would go to 2. But I mean,
I would put him at 1.
that would
At this point,
at 1? No.
I put it's a shutout, man. It's like
There's gonna be.
It's like you see a World Chalice deck. He's like the deck. Hey, if you open 6 vanilla monsters, he can still combo into draw 2. But then it's like D-Berry. Hi, you just summoned a vanilla monster shot. GG. You have no effects. Like what?
No, I mean, I actually do feel like even if D-Barrier obviously doesn't have that errata, but in the future there will be anti-link cards that are going to create some sort of anti-link floodgate, or someone's going to think of something to clearly fight against links. You know how Macrocosmos.
We have topologic Bomber Dragon.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about like cards like Macrocosmos. If Macrocosmos comes back to 3, then that's going to be, you know, the anti-link card, kind of like how anti-spell was the anti-pendulum card. But Macrocosmos being at 1 at TCG is a little awkward right now because it really is only the only anti-link card that players have found. Yeah, but it's at 3 at OCG, and I think they hit it down to 1, right?
I'm not too sure. Macrocosmos.
Yeah, not too sure.
Well, at least we're not playing some anti-meta stuff that I came up with. No Fun Zone version 2. And also, speaking of No Fun Zone, of course, Metaverse isn't out yet, but in Circuit Break, Metaverse will be the power creep or the replacement to some of your terraformings, because activating a field spell from the deck sounds a bit ridiculous. You just activate it straight onto the field. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty damn good.
Isn't that just terraforming?
Oh man, you activate like Twin Twister Cosmic Cyclone, you chain it, you just put it onto the field.
Oh man,
that is going to be the next best card. Probably going to be a high rarity card, probably an ultra. But anyways, I guess that is our Banlist prediction. Let's hope to see a format change. If you guys have anything you agree with, disagree with, leave it down in the comment section below. We would like to hear your thoughts, of course. And I think most people's lists are pretty similar this time around, just because the format has been stuck like this for a while now. Our last Banlist was in June, and June barely did anything.
Yeah, June just made it so that, you know, the Zoodiac, pure Zoodiac was not as insane, even though it turned out to be just as insane, because you really can't hit the Zoodiac deck, you know, a little bit at a time. It has to be one big burst, and that's why I feel like we're not going to get that 2-barrel ban list that OCG got. We're just going to get one all at the same time.
Yeah, that's likely the case. I mean, Zoodiac has existed in our current format. It was released in early February. Released early February, and now it's like mid-August, and 6 months is usually the time limit. Of course, most decks do have a time limit, especially if they are top tier.
It's usually a year, but if the tier 0 decks, kind of like Necros and Zoodiacs, it's going to be around 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, that's right. Like, so deck survivability, if it's not high tier, just expect it to never really get touched. If it's tier 0, it usually has a lifespan, depending on what it is, 3 to 6 months. A very short lifespan. 3 to 6 months.
Burning Abyss, it's going to be almost 3 years.
Yeah, so for some reason, somehow people just love HP. No, it's not even HP Lovecraft. It's just the epic tale, the epic whatever tale of Dante. Dante's Inferno. I don't even know. But yeah, so like as long as it's in the high tier area, it is likely to have a shorter lifespan. And that's always how it works, because Konami needs to make money. But if there's anything else you guys want to share your list down below, please do. We would like to hear your thoughts. If there's something that you believe to be very OP, something you disagree with on my list or Oscar's list, most likely you're going to have more disagreement on my list since I'm putting more stuff at one. Just let me know down in the comment section below. And until next time, hopefully you guys enjoy our discussion. Thank you, Oscar, for joining me here. Maybe... I also gotta thank you guys, you Patreons. Really appreciate you guys. And, well, until next time, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please drop us a like so we know we are doing a good job. And you can also subscribe to MST.TV for more fantastic videos by clicking on the button on the left. Don't forget to check out our partners at Imperium Duelist. They make really high quality mats, including some of my own limited edition release stuff. And if you want to check out one of our past videos, click here on the right. As always, don't forget to hold on to your MST.TV, and I'll see you next time.